Well, we're back with another Talking Technical, and I mean, it is just fantastic to run the show, even if we've got some technical problems in Johannesburg. We can do the show out of Vosburg and then just do it and give it to you. It's always nice, and thank you for all the requests and for all the viewers that is watching the show. And I'm just so grateful to offer this service to you, because after all these years behind the screen, it is just a pleasure to discuss some shares with you. And I mean, we've got plenty of requests, and I hope I can cover all of them in the space that we've got. But the first question that we had is, what is happening with Naspers? And that's why I'm showing this chart straight away, because Naspers is one of those stocks that everybody is 100% convinced of. Well, not everybody, but there's a lot of investors that's 100% convinced that this share offers tremendous value. So I want to start off looking at the daily chart, and that is a candlestick chart, and I would like to show you what I am seeing. And remember, this is now more of a short-term chart, but the big thing here is, and I would like to show you this line. Every time that Naspers gets to 3,000 Rand, there's some buyers. And they just keen to buy the stock whenever it gets there. And what do we see? And I want to show it to you, and that's why it's also holding a crucial clue for those that's interested in the top 40 index, the trading of the All Z. And by the way, our training group is vibrant, and the big thing about that training group is because a lot of the guys wants to learn the All Z, but the success of that is to ask as many questions as you can. But let's have a look at Naspers. Naspers here is a beautiful chart, but look at this trend line. This support line is holding this share all the way, and that is the 3,000 Rand level. You can see there's the 3,000 Rand level. That is crucial. Now, since May last year, every time that the stock get to this 3,000, we saw a beautiful rally. I mean, there it's a spike, it came back, it rallied all the way, came back, rallied all the way, came back in September, rallied, but the rally wasn't that strong. But you can just see these candles. Let's maybe just have a look here. See all these shadows. All these shadows are telling me that there's some investors saying, but this share must go up. You can see it bounced off 3,000, but for me, I've got something else here. Instead, saying to myself, listen, 3,000 Rand must hold. That is the line that you can look for if you want to have a short-term trade on the Naspers, to see if you can see a beautiful relief bounce, because I'm not so sure that we're going to see a strong rally in Naspers. In actual fact, I think it's a matter of time, and then this 3,000 Rand level will turn into a resistance, and then the share will go down from there. So I think at the moment we can maybe see a bounce, because these candles are telling me that there is some buyers. Look at all these lower shadows. What does that mean? That means every time that the share comes back to about 3,100 Rand, there's a buyer pushing it up. In that day, it was 3,120. That day, 3,120. Every time it gets there, there was a buyer. So if you want to anticipate a bounce, that is your resistance line. And Naspers must break above this resistance line to give us a relief rally. And the reason why I'm saying that we've got an opportunity here is there's a tiny little window here. This window is there for a few weeks now. In actual fact, it's waiting now to be broken, but it does not break, and the window is between 3,348 and 3,332 Rand. So this trend line, and there's your level, it must break above 3,210 Rand to make me optimistic that Naspers can give us a relief rally. But the only thing that worries me, then I need to give you a stop loss. And where's my stop loss? My stop loss is sitting at 3,088 Rand. It's quite a big stop loss. So it's almost 100 Rand stop loss. But if you want to trade it, you buy it above that trend line, and you probably wait for this window to be closed. But I'm a little bit nervous that Naspers eventually is going to disappoint investors and break below this 3,000 level. Let's maybe have a look at Naspers on the longer term chart, and that's why I want to show it, because there's a lot of investors that's got Naspers in their portfolio as almost, as you can say, a staple holding for growth, because that was the one share that really helped our market going up and up and up all the years. And if you look at it since 2012, and well, can you believe it? I mean, in 2012, I was one of the guys at 600 Rand. I thought Naspers is expensive. Well, it wasn't expensive then. I mean, it just went up to 3,181 Rand. But look at it. The long-term view of Naspers is still intact. But I want to have a look at a few things. First of all, let's have a look at this trend line. I want to draw that one in. That's the first one that I would like to show you guys. And ladies, of course, because we've got ladies also watching this program. There you are. It's on the brink of turning this trend line. And remember, this is a weekly chart, line graph of Naspers. And what do we see? We're on the brink of turning this into a resistance. And there you've got a high, a lower high, a lower high. You can almost talk here about a double top. That's a warning formation. And we're on the brink of breaking that. Now, that is the first warning signal. Let's have a look at another one. If Naspers, and remember, this is the year of, you can almost say that where the stalwarts or those shares that you think that cannot drop, they actually surprised us this year, and they showed us that if weakness comes with these big counters, it comes with a vengeance. So, well, there's the big trend line. That's the long-term trend line of Naspers. And where does it take us? If we take it a little bit further, we extend this line, it comes back to that magical level of 3,000 Rand a share. And I want to put in a 40-week moving average in here as well. And let's have a look if the 40-week moving average is still a support or a resistance. I'm a little bit nervous because I know that everybody is watching it. And if I do that, you will see suddenly Naspers has turned its 40-week moving average into a resistance. And that is negative to the medium to long-term investors. And what do I see? Can you see this moving average is slowly but surely turning to the downside? Now that turning to the downside tells me that the momentum is drying up on Naspers, that there's investors that is nervous. And I think we got to a point where either Naspers must bring out fantastic ideas to unlock some value to impress investors. Otherwise, this share is going to disappoint. But let's go back. 3,000 Rand is the crucial level. And I'm going to give this level on a weekly level. Below 3,186 Rand, I'll get nervous about it because that will be the break of the first trend line to the up. And remember, this 40-week moving average is still a resistance. And that is sitting at 3,287 Rand. While we're below that, that actually tells you that there's some more sellers for the long term and they're not that keen on Naspers as everybody is thinking. Well, let's have a look at one of the stocks that I showed last week. And I said maybe the stock can just surprise us a little bit more. And what was that? That was Impala Platinum. And Impala Platinum we spotted early in September for our readers. And we said, okay, guys, it's maybe an opportunity to buy. But what happened? I mean, this just shows you, and I would like to show you guys here, this just shows you if a share turns around. Look what happened from 16 Rand 60 cents. You can almost say 16 Rand 60 cents. It goes straight, almost in a straight line up to almost 30 Rand. So it just shows you that within this market, that there is some shares struggling, there is also some opportunities. But what is the crucial thing? The crucial thing is you need to have patience to look at and wait at that specific share to turn around. Now, personally, I think that Impala Platinum, because the Rand is slowly but getting stronger a little bit, maybe we can see a little bit of a pullback. And remember, what I'm saying here is I'm saying maybe we can see a pullback. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, I mean, Impala rallied so much and it comes from such a low base, and I'm going to show you from which low base it's coming. It is actually shocking. That's why I say I hope it comes back to maybe this 22 Rand 20 level. That will be a good place to buy it. Well, can you believe it that we're getting to a point now? A few months ago, we said we will not touch Impala Platinum. It is just so negative. We don't want to have a look at the share. What happens now? We say we hope it pulls back so that we can get a buying opportunity. It just shows you the excitement in markets. If you like this passion, it is wonderful because it always keeps you busy. It keeps your mind busy. So let's hope it pulls back. But at the moment, it's a beautiful move to the upside. What worries me, it is a lamp pole formation. But I'm going to show you something now. Remember, I say maybe it's going to pull back. Let's have a look at the weekly chart of Impala Platts. And I mean, you're going to laugh at me and say, listen, Frans, this chart hasn't even turned around yet. Let's just have a look. And I want to draw in this line chart. Remember, this is a line chart. Let's just take it back. Can you believe it? This is Impala Platinum from its heydays, let's say in 2008, around about 350 Rand a share. It is now 28 Rand. And if you look at it, this looks like a tiny blip in a bounce to the upside. In actual fact, some of the medium to the long-term investors will say, listen, maybe that is only the time to have a look at the share. And look at it. That will be only above this line if this line breaks. And that's going to be, let's get the level, 30 Rand. Above 30 Rand, the medium to long-term investor will say, listen, guys, we are interested in the share. It maybe wants to turn around. It just shows you this thing, if it turns around, it usually comes with a vengeance. Well, that is Impala Platinum. There's another stock that I would like to show you guys, and that I think is maybe an opportunity because remember, the gold stocks have been hammered to pieces. I mean, they in actual fact darks of the market, but there's one of them that is really a dark of the market, and that is Goldfields. Let's just have a look at Goldfields. First of all, maybe let's just put it also in perspective here. Let's do that, and I just want to put Goldfields on a weekly chart here, just to show you what happened in Goldfields. And remember, this is the stock that everybody's hating because their self-D project is just, you can almost say, eating capital like you can't believe. I mean, it's burning up cash like some of the analysts say, ach man, please just get rid of it. It's a waste of time. Let's just have a look at Goldfields here. And I want to take it back where the story started of Goldfields. And I can remember when they started with that self-D project. I know it's the richest ore body in the world of gold, and everybody was so optimistic about the company. But this is the weekly chart. And if you look at this chart, remember Goldfields was listed, well, what wasn't listed, but its high was around 140 Rand. Now, can you believe it? I mean, we're talking about Impala was 350 Rand. Now, Goldfields was about 140 Rand in 2011. I mean, at that point in time, everybody was just so optimistic about the share. Everybody just said this share can just go higher because the gold deposits in the Self-Deep complex is just fantastic. Now, what happens? From there, it just went down and down and down and down. And now at the moment, we're seeing a small blip there at the bottom. In actual fact, we're playing around with some lows. Now, let's just do a little bit of a technical thing here. And let's have a look there. I just want to draw in that line. Now this is now a classic line. And for me, it is a beautiful trend line. But that turned into a resistance. And there you are. You can see it's playing at around below that. And the crucial level is this one. And remember, I'm talking now weekly charts. I'm not talking daily charts. We will have a look at the daily chart within a few minutes. But let's have a look at the daily chart. I've seen over the years, when you get a trend line like this and the share breaks below that, and suddenly it turns around from there and it goes up, and it turns this line into a support. This I call a false break, or shaking the weekends out. For people that bought it at this trend line, they triggered all their stop losses, and as that was over and done with, the stock turned around and goes up. So at the moment, it's early days, but let's have a look at the stock. First of all, I'm a little bit nervous on this sort of a head and shoulder formation, but I'm at the moment focusing first on that 36.50 Rand level on the weekly chart. If that turns into a support, that means that the share from 2014 at least bounced off there in 2015, same thing twice there. And look what happens. Every time that it bounces off there, it gives you a bounce. You can maybe, the last time was about from 35 Rand to about 56 Rand. It gave us a beautiful bounce. And I think if we can just see a bounce from here, it can maybe bounce back to about 50 Rand here. But let's have a look at the daily chart first. The daily chart is now for more of a short-term view. And I want to have a look here. And what do I see? I see this unfortunate ugly sell-off, and that was what you can almost say a waterfall formation. And what happens? It plays around here, and then the news came out that the Self-D project is again eating up a lot of cash, and that the company wants to get rid of some employees, and it fell off a cliff. But at that point, there was a small tiny gap opening up there at the top, and that is between around 48 Rand and 48 Rand 30 cents. So it's a tiny gap on a daily chart, on a daily candlestick chart. But what is of interest for me is the following. Let's just have a look here. There's a inverse head and shoulder. And I want to draw this line in, and then you will see what I'm talking about. I mean, and remember, this is now one of the dark of the markets, and I've said it before. When the big market is going to come under pressure, we will get some shares that is actually so low that people will see some value in them. And remember, Impala was one of them. It gave us a beautiful bounce. PPC the other day, we mentioned it. It gave us a little bit of a bounce. Now we're sitting on Goldfields, another dark of the market. Everybody hates it. Everybody say that the company is useless. The Self-D project is just eating up some cash. But what do I see? I see an inverse head and shoulder. And there you are. I'm sitting on the left shoulder. There's the beautiful left shoulder. I'm sitting at a head. There's the head. Some guys will actually say that the head has been formed already. There's the head. Some guys will say, there you are. Left shoulder, head, and we're busy on the right shoulder. But let's rather play safe. Let's use this one. And because that was the high of the other day's candle, then we say that's the left shoulder. There's the head. And we may be working on the right shoulder now. So we sit here on a possible inverse head and shoulder. And remember, what is an inverse head and shoulder? An inverse head and shoulder is possibly a reversal pattern. And a reversal pattern sometimes give you a beautiful break to the upside. And my neckline is sitting at, there you are. And remember in the weekly chart, it was 36 Rand 50. This neckline is sitting at 37.27. And if it breaks to the top, where can it go to? Let's just have a look here. The conservative target, I'll show you that now. There's the full. If it plays out to the full, I'm going to give you that target. There you are. The conservative target will be, and there's the high of that candle, will be 38 Rand 65. That can take it up there. And if it plays out to the top, it can go to 40 Rand on the dot. Well, that's about a 10, 12, 15% rally that we can see here. But I would like to show something else. Let's maybe have a look. And I sometimes like to look at the 26 and the 9-day moving average. And you can remember a few weeks ago, Christelle was on the show, and she stood in for me because I was out for a while. And what happened here is that she loves the one indicator, and that's the 26 and the 9-day moving average. She loves that. She say always that is a short-term reversal pattern formation for her, to say to her that something is on the boil and the share wants to maybe turn around. Now, remember, this is now a daily chart. And what do we see? There's the 9-day moving average, all right? And there's the 26-day moving average. Now, what Christelle always says is she likes about it because she's not a short-term trader that loves the Aussie. I love the Aussie because I've been involved with the Aussie for so much. But she say because of her admin situation, sometimes she must do a lot of things on the admin side. And she's in the group of some of the technical investors that say, I haven't got time to watch the charts day in and day out. I want to have a little bit of more spare time. So she loves to implement the 26-day and the 9-day moving average. So what she's saying, let's wait for the stock to fall to pieces. Then you put in a 26 and a 9-day moving average after a little bit of a consolidation. And when you see that the short-term moving average, there you are. If you see the short-term moving average crosses above the long-term moving average, that's the 26-day moving average, that will give you, in essence, a buying opportunity. That will tell you that the share for the medium to the long term wants to go higher. And that gives her then the opportunity to actually buy into the stock. And she say, okay, but let's rather play safe like I do. And she will say, let's wait for the neckline. And that neckline for her will be probably at 36 Rand 50 with the medium to the longer term guys. Weekly chart. Why? Because she uses the 26 and the 9-day moving average. But let's see where's the stop loss. The stop loss is at the following. The stop loss is at, there you are, 34 Rand and 40 cents. When it goes to 34.40, we're probably going to see a longer consolidation, and this inverse head and shoulder can maybe be wiped off the table. But I'm quite positive if I see this cross, if I see this almost, you can say, consolidation with the inverse head and shoulder, that maybe Goldfields is something to look at. Remember, there's nothing positive at the moment about the company, but at the moment there's something maybe that we can maybe look at. Let's have a look at another stock, and that's one stock that slowly but surely is getting my attention, and that is Anglo American. And the reason why I say Anglo American, remember Anglo American is one of those counters that helped this market also all the way to the top. Remember, it lagged a little bit in the beginning. In the beginning, it was almost just Naspers and Richmond and some of those counters. But what do we see here is Anglo American had one beautiful rally. I mean, Anglo American started off a few weeks ago, let's just get that level, at around 284 Rand. And it shot up, I mean, in a matter of, let's say, 14 trading days, all the way straight up to around 335 Rand. You can almost say in one go. And remember, in these 14 days, the Rand was a little bit weaker, but it strengthened quite a lot from 1550 to where it is now. So, in actual fact, this share went against the trend. But what makes me a little bit nervous, and we've seen it with Sasol the last few sessions, and even Richmond, we warned about it, almost the same thing. Beautiful rally, I will call this a lamp pole formation, but what do we see? Let's look at these candles. Bullish candle, bullish one, bullish. And this spinning top is already a little bit of a concern. But I want to draw in something else, and then I'm going to discuss the candles. And the moment I do that, you guys will see where I'm heading to. And let's have a look. There you are. At the previous time in around June, it was also about 335 Rand. It went up all the way to test that. But what do we see? A spinning top candle, a gravestone doji. Usually that is a candle that is a warning candle to say, listen, maybe the trend can change. It's not a negative candle yet. It just tells you that the trend can maybe change. Then you see a beautiful bullish engulfing candle. But what do I see? On this bullish candle, I see this upper shadow that's actually testing this high of the 7th of June. And the moment it got there, there was some sellers around. That makes me nervous. And what do we see now? We see a bearish candle, and that tells me that a bearish engulfing candle after this gravestone doji, it is a warning. And to confirm that, I will use the low of yesterday's candle. Let's just draw that in. Let's get that. There you are. The low of yesterday's candle was, there you are, 324 Rand and 70 cents. And if it gets below 324 Rand 70 cents, Anglo American can maybe pull back a little bit. Why? There's two things. First of all, the rally to the top was fantastic. Second of all, I think we can maybe see it's also overbought, but we can maybe check it if we've got time. We had a beautiful rally, we've got a warning formation, and we've seen that the Rand is slowly but surely strengthening, and that can maybe put some pressure onto Anglo American. So below this little support line here, I think we can maybe head down. Let's get the levels. 322 Rand 35, 320.45, maybe down to 314.62. And the reason why I say that, there's a previous period where the share found some resistance. Maybe it can find now support around there. And let's just draw that line. Where do I get it? Just to show you. There's the lines. There you are. At this point, it can usually bounce, go back. That's about 315 Rand. It can come back all the way. Sometimes it tests this line and go up. And remember, that is enough for a short trader to make a few bob. But if it bounces off here, maybe it's an opportunity again to get in back to the stock. But if this line turns into a resistance, it can actually go a little bit lower. And just to check quickly, let us see if the stock is overbought. And then we know that the candles and the warning with the candles is maybe not far away or far-fetched. Let's have a look here. And there you are. There you are. Well, that's the classic. I mean, this is now a confirmation that the stock is also overbought. The candles are talking. It's maybe time to lock in some profit. Or if you want to go short, go short. But I think let's just maybe give you guys a stop loss. The stop loss if you go short is 335 Rand and 50 cents to protect some capital. Well, thank you. That's the end of Talking Technical for this week. Hope the technical problems are sorted out next week. But enjoy the show and thank you for the support. All the best.